what we want to do right now is sort of give you an update as to what has happened since the last press conference over the last 7 days. After a tremendous amount of public pressure, the Sheriff's Department released the police report. And the police report, without a doubt, proves one thing. The LA County Sheriff's Department lied about what they accomplished and what they failed to do that night. Specifically, in the original report that they conducted on the 16th and 17th of September, they do not mention one thing about a field sobriety test. That's quite significant. They did a supplemental report a day after our press conference. And guess what's in the supplemental report? They conducted a field sobriety test. Yes, I spoke to 2 officers last night, and something is seriously wrong in Denmark. That information should have been in the original report. And it proves one thing. They knew something was wrong with her to take this sobriety test. So when the Sheriff's Department said she was okay, then why was the sobriety test given? And why did you fail to put it in the original report? Please ask them, when did they take it and where did they take it? If they did take it, they didn't take it at Joffrey's. They took it at the station, and she passed. It told them right there the same reasons why they arrested her should have been the same reasons why they kept her, especially in light of the fact that she passed the sobriety test. But what is the big lie is the failure to place it in the original report. I am showing you the supplemental report. Look at the date of the supplemental report. Ask Steve Whitmore, why was that in the original report? I also want to talk about the communication tapes. Those tapes reveal Miss Sutton's worst nightmare. She didn't want her daughter walking out there and getting lost. She, in essence, predicted the outcome of this situation. And you will also hear the stupidity of the officers who make comments like, well, maybe she caught a bus. There's no buses running at 1:30 at night. But you'll hear that on the tape. And comments after she made the 3rd call. Maybe she's sitting in the lobby. This officer who spoke to her didn't even know where she was. And of course, he didn't know her name. The most glaring aspect of what we have learned is that there was a call to the station at 6:30 in the morning. It was by a resident. He said he saw a woman and she fit the description of the missing person. Please go in there and ask the Sheriff's Department, when did you go to that home? We have witnesses who will testify that the Sheriff's Department did not go to that home until later that afternoon, hours later. The LA County Sheriff's Department is responsible for Mitrice Richardson's disappearance. Miss Sutton and I went to the LAPD on Wednesday night. We spoke to Detective Knowles and we spoke to Detective Iguchi. It was about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. They wanted information from Miss Sutton, and we asked 3 basic questions. By the way, they have represented that the robbery and homicide division has much more manpower, so they're able to do things much faster. Okay. We asked question number 1. Have you checked on the alleged phone calls that Mitrice Richardson made at the station before she left, some 14 days ago? No, haven't done it yet. My goodness. 2 critical phone calls, if they were made, and they told us they hadn't made contact or they haven't been able to isolate the phone lines. I guarantee you, if it was somebody of an actor or a sports celebrity, they would know that. Question number 2. They have books and paper. Miss Richardson had diaries and reports or information in her car. Have you read all of it? No, haven't read all of it. And third, we asked for a copy of the police report because this group is trying to find Mitrice Richardson as well. We asked these two detectives 2 days ago for the police report. They would not give it to us. They hem and haw and walked outside and said, we can't give it to you. Well, I do want to give credit to Sheriff Baca and Commander Neil Tyler, because they did give us the police report. But these so-called two detectives, with all this manpower, have not isolated those phone calls yet, have not read all the material that was in Mitrice Richardson's car, and for some strange reason, refused to give us the police report. It shows you a lack of sensitivity to the family who worries 24/7 about the whereabouts of Mitrice Richardson. LA County Sheriff Department took a sobriety test, allegedly, and realized that she wasn't drunk, but failed to realize that this young lady was in a crisis stage. We're going to play a tape tonight where the Joffrey's restaurant called the sheriff's station and said, we have a woman here who's acting weird. She might be under drugs or alcohol. No, not drugs or alcohol, just a woman crying out for help. Please do not accept the press statements, the rhetoric, the lollipop answers given by the sheriff department. Ask law enforcement officers, how in the world, for 7 or 8 days, you have heard the rhetoric? She was okay, nothing was wrong with her, she was free to leave. After we had that press conference, they added this supplemental report. Now you ask any law enforcement agent in the world, this should have been the original report. You know, and for 9 days, they didn't do it until after we had that press conference. And then they do this supplemental report. This should have been in the original report, but you didn't hear that. You didn't hear any statement from the press spokesperson saying, oh, we gave her a field sobriety test. You know why? Because that would have signaled that they thought something was wrong with her. And we still don't believe it was taken at the site. But they have tried to hide and conceal their incompetence. So when you talk to them, ask them, hey, why was this written after the press conference? Why wasn't this field sobriety test in the original report? Please ask them that. Don't let them get off with statements like, we follow all procedures, she was okay. The indicators, the signals that this woman was not drunk, but Mitrice Richardson has some issues, that she was crying for help, and these guys, these officers allegedly were incompetent and couldn't figure it out. And they had an obligation to do so. They lacked the training and skill to do so. And instead, they let her walk out at night without any form of communicating with the world, without any form of communicating with her mother or father, and now she's lost. And when you talk to those LAPD detectives, ask them a couple of questions. Why haven't you figured out the identity of those phone calls? Oh, you have figured it out? Oh, so you lied to Miss Sutton on Wednesday? Why haven't you figured out, or have you read all the materials in the possession that you have of Mitrice Richardson? Why? They're either lying to us, or they're incompetent, and they have no desire to find this young lady. You heard the pleas and cries of a mother who is begging right now the public to put pressure on the law enforcement to do everything they can 24/7. There's no question, with 14 days of being missing, she could be anywhere, literally anywhere. Some person offering her a ride, taking her anywhere up and down this state, outside the state. We believe in our hearts and in our minds that she is alive. But this search needs to go beyond Southern California. There are hot spot areas, as Dr. Hampton and Ms. Sutton has pointed out, that should be searched immediately. As there are residents of Malibu who have said they have either seen Miss Richardson or heard voices of a woman talking to herself. But independent of that, the search needs to go and expand.